There it
Okay.
goes.
Okay, there we go. So a regular fifth grade camp this year with overnight stay as long as hopefully things settle down. But we're going to go ahead and plan for it as if things will be okay. We feel like that's the best option. We don't want kids to miss out on this opportunity to have this experience and end their elementary years with a bang. So we're planning on 3 days, 2 overnights, and we will have be attending at Howell Nature Center in Howell. I think Mike, you said this is the 14th year. I think we
No,
said that
I think it might be more than that, but that's why I was just going by
somewhere
what
around there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We've done it. I've done it now. Yeah. 12, probably 20 years, but
yeah. And Shauna also has organized fifth grade camp through when she worked at Brick, and they went to Camp Storer.
Correct.
We all have lots of fifth grade camp experience and are ready for anything that life brings us. So Mike has a presentation that we're going to share with you. It gives you information about the camp, about the cost, activities, and then we also have a Google form link for you guys that we'll share in the chat. If you could just fill it out, let us know your interest in your kid attending camp and if you're interested in chaperoning camp. And that's where we'll leave it. So go ahead, Mike, whenever you're ready.
all right. So like Mrs. Moore said, we've done this a lot of years. I personally, like I said, I've probably been there almost 20 years, continuous years. We have a great relationship with the camp. They take good care of us. They actually let us do a lot of stuff that other groups don't usually get to do because we've been there so many times. So some of the basic information, we're going on, the dates this year are Wednesday, May 18th through Friday, May 20th. Part of the cost of the camp is the kids will be transported on Lincoln buses. So they will pick us up on Wednesday morning. Usually a little bit, we come a little earlier this year. So I think we'll have some time to kind of gather up. Usually we're rushing out the door, but with the change in schedule, we'll be able to get a little more organized before we leave. But we load in the buses, we go there, we get there usually about maybe 10, 11 o'clock. We usually eat lunch and then they do some activities. So like the schedule set up is we get there, we bring lunch with us, they eat lunch. They do 2 activities on Wednesday afternoon, 2 of the scheduled activities. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. They come back to like the main area. One thing about Howell Nature Center is like even some of the kids in my class asked today, is it in the woods? Yeah, it's amazing that this place is just kind of tucked away in the middle of nowhere. It's a huge campus with woods. The kids are walking a lot on trails through the woods to their different activities. They're spread out all over this campus. And so it's a lot of hiking and walking. So the kids are really busy. They keep them busy all day long. So they hike off, do their activities. Then they hike back to the main area where our cabins are. There's a huge field, like commons area out in front of the cabins with like gaga ball. They have a bunch of activities set up that the kids can play kind of in their free time. So usually when they get back, they're getting ready for dinner. The kids have some free time out there in that play area or in that field area. They come in, they have dinner. They have some more free time after dinner, and then we have a nighttime activity. Typically, we play a game called Adventure Scrabble one night where they're running around to different stations trying to form words and collect points. And then we typically have a dance on the second night that we're at camp. So the kids really enjoy that. So they have their nighttime activity, and then when they finish with their nighttime activity, we kind of have a snack, and then we separate. So we typically have 2 cabins, 2 large cabins. One of them's for the boys, one of them's for the girls. They're in 2 separate areas in the nature center. So depending on the size of the group, there's one that's slightly bigger. The bigger group, if there's more boys, they stay in that cabin. If there's more girls, they stay in that cabin. And then the other group kind of hikes up a trail, and that's where the other cabin is located. So they're in 2 separate cabins. And then they kind of repeat that the next day. They wake up. We wake them up pretty early, actually, so we don't let them stay up too late. They have breakfast. They do 2 activities in the morning. They come back, have some free time, have lunch. They're off doing 2 more activities again in the afternoon. They have dinner, nighttime activity, then they're off to bed again. The second night, we usually let them stay up a little bit later, but not much later, because they're up again early the next morning. 2 more activities on Friday morning, lunch, and then after lunch, we pack up and we head back to the school. And we typically, I did not look ahead to the schedule, but usually we get, especially with our early schedule this year, we will be back there right around dismissal time. And usually one of the things that, I don't know if I added that in here, is we do ask you to try and pick them up from school that day, because they'll be hauling their stuff. They'll be really tired. They'll be excited to see you. So if you can pick them up or have someone carpool and pick them up, would be great, because it's usually not fun putting them on the bus carrying all their stuff and crabby after not getting much sleep and being at camp for a few days. The meals are all included. The students get divided up into travel groups. So we're with a really big group this year, because actually Brick's going to join us. So we're going to kind of mix some kids together so that they'll get to meet form some new relationships with those kids moving into middle school for next year. We have these what are called travel groups. We'll probably have about 7 or 8 of them. So Mrs. Moore, Mrs. Turpay, and myself will sit down and we'll group our kids. And then we'll probably just combine them with a small group from the other building. So it'll be a large group of like 13, 14, 15 kids that travel from activity to activity. And we usually try and group them with a couple of their friends and maybe some other people that we think they might have a good relationship with, especially amongst classes, because our classes aren't mixed very much during the day. Chaperones will be with the students at all times. So chaperones are expected to travel with their groups. And then we kind of assign kids to chaperones based on gender. So like a group of boys will be assigned to a dad that's responsible for them, especially at night and during those down times. And girls will be assigned to a specific mom that's they're supposed to report to and help keep tabs with. Boys and girls sleep in separate cabins and bunk beds. All parents are welcome and encouraged to attend. And then like a lot of the other information about what to bring and all that we'll give you as we get closer to the trip. The cabins look something like this floor plan here, where they all have like a central like common area. And then this big one is the one of our big ones we stay in. Where we eat in this dining area, but the rooms are kind of set up off to the side where there's like 4 bunk rooms. They usually have, like this one says, 7 beds in each room, but I think they've even changed since this. So there's bunk beds. So if this was the boys' cabin, they would split into these 4 rooms in bunk beds, and we try to keep like their groups together and such, but they're in these rooms in their bunk beds. There's 4 bathrooms in there that separate their rooms. And like I said, this one cabin will be just for boys or just for girls. There'd be a separate one elsewhere on the campus for the other group. Some of the activities they're going to do, these are old groups that have gone and done it. So they do some team building games and activities where they have to come up with strategies as a group to go through and solve. Archery we've done that I think we're signed up for, that they seem to have a lot of fun with. This is kind of like the commons area where they eat. It's a large area with a bunch of tables, and they kind of gather in there right before lunch. They have them go through a routine to get ready to eat. Zip lining, one of the kids' favorite things, or most of the kids' favorite things. So they do all get to take a ride on the 500-foot zip line. This is a joke kind of. So we do canoeing. These 2 guys, that one of them is actually, this is when we used to go a long time ago. Mr. Hansbarger and myself used to splash the kids, and Mr. Hansbarger's son is actually one of the kids that's floating in the water, because they really got carried away and tried to splash us and obviously tip their canoe in the water. Which the funny thing is the one kid is standing, and Mr. Hansbarger's son didn't realize he could stand. So he's trying to sit in the boat so that he doesn't go under the water. But that's only happened twice in all the years I've been there. And then the kids get to do the 60-foot climbing wall too, which a lot of them really enjoy. And that's a big team building thing that the camp sets up too, because the other kids are actually holding their weight with some equipment to help let them down. Big thing is the price. So the price is going to be for students is $190. That includes the transportation, the meals, and all the activities that are included at the camp. Chaperones, I put approximately 125 to 150 because what they do at Howell is they give me, there's, depending on the amount of kids, we get a certain number of chaperones that are half price, and then the rest of the chaperones are full price. So what we do is we take our total number of chaperones and the total chaperone cost and just divide it up evenly so that everyone's paying the equal share. And their price includes the same thing, includes their meals. You're not going to want the school transportation. Most of you would probably rather drive your car and then leave right away so that you don't have to ride on a smelly bus back to the school. It includes a bunk bed for you to sleep in and all those great things. Questions? Are there any questions or comments?
Go. You can unmute yourself and share out. Katie, go ahead.
So the groups then are mixed then when they go do activities, it's boys and girls?
Yes. Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question. My son has a lot of allergies. Is there a way we can know the food menu beforehand?
So we actually send in any food allergies. They are very good about that. I have a form that I fill out and list all our food allergies. And when we get there, the group leader who's organized, usually the leader that's organizing the meal. So they have one like counselor that runs all the meals. They will say, here is they kind of set it up like buffet style. Here's the food. If you have a milk allergy, your food is over here. If you have a nut allergy, this is your food over here. So they are very good about that.
And especially for allergies, gluten-free children, vegetarian children, all of those things, they are incredibly accommodating to any special food needs that kids have. Anyone else? Amber, I see your hands raised.
Hi, yeah. I was just wondering two quick things. For one, if your child takes a daily medication, how you go about that, and then secondly, if there is any kind of restrictions they're doing with COVID.
So when it gets closer to camp, you will get a form to fill out with your child's med, when they get it. It's a small form. And then on the day of camp, you're going to send that form and your children's medication in a bag. That's one of the things that I do, or we do when we get to camp, is I kind of go through those and sort those out. And then I kind of have a spreadsheet. So every day I'm passing those out at the times they need to be distributed. So yes, we do. We will take care and handle all, making sure that kids get their meds and get them at the right time. Their protocols as far as now, like we'll kind of see as we get closer. Like last year when we went, they actually set up tents and we ate outside. We were spread out a little bit more. Other than that, we'll probably follow like the school protocols. If we're inside, we'll have masks on. I mean, depending on what's happening in May, we will probably follow the same rules that we're following at school. If they're inside, they have masks on. I mean, we'll kind of have to revisit it depending on what the situation looks like in May.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely a fluid thing, but the kids were really good about it last year. And we did an extended day with them. So we were there for 12 hours and got home really late. But the kids were really good. They wore their masks when they were inside, and when they came back outside, they took them off. Some students chose to wear their mask all day. So if you want your child to do that, they're welcome to wear it outside as well as inside. But it basically is going on our school policies at that time, the county health department recommendations, and Howell. So Howell is pretty accommodating, and they just kind of let us choose as well what our policy is, and they support us in that. I see it. Two-time champ has their hand raised.
Hello.
Hi.
Okay. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, so I was wondering, when I went camp with my oldest son years ago, my husband and I, we were able to split the time as chaperones. So for instance, we went a day and a half, then he came and he relieved me, did the other day and a half. Would you guys still allow that?
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Mr. Foley, go ahead.
I'm assuming if for some reason the trip is canceled, COVID or whatever, we'll be refunded in full in the summer, probably?
As soon as we know, we'll issue refunds.
Mhm.
The biggest thing will be everything that comes in gets deposited to the business office. So I know when we had to cancel 2 years ago, it took them like a month to get all the checks sent out. But yes, you will be fully refunded anything if the trip has to be canceled.
Is there anyone else that has questions?
When is the money due?
Oh, good question. So we have set up payments. You are welcome to pay it in full if you need to, right up front. We'll have an online payment link that you can pay through the Lincoln website. We'll send that out. I'm hoping that it'll be set up by later this week.
It's done. I have it. I'll actually can post it in the chat, and then we can send it out in an email tomorrow as well.
So you can pay online that way. You're welcome to send in cash or check to us as well. The first payment we're asking is just $30 for just kind of a deposit to let us know that your child will attend. And we're asking for that to be due on February 1st. We'll send this all out in an email too. So February 1st for $30. And then we have, Mr. Hotchkiss, I don't have my notes. I can't remember what that second date was. So we have a second date. I think it's towards the end of March or middle of March. And we said that would be $120.
No.
No.
February 1st is $30.
Thank you.
March 14th is $80.
$80.
And then April 25th is the final $80.
So we'll send out reminders for those. We'll break them up. If your family or if you know of another family in 5th grade who needs financial assistance to help pay for camp, please encourage them to reach out to us, to Mrs. Aldridge, to one of us, so that we can help support them and make sure that their kid gets to attend camp. We want to make sure that every kid gets the chance to go. And if finances are a concern, we want to help in any way that we can.
So I posted 2 links in the chat. The first one is just the form that we're asking that you fill out, just to tell us if you're interested in sending your kid to camp, if it's a maybe, what's your reasons why, and then also if you are interested in attending as a chaperone. The second link I put in there is the link to make online payments. And like we just said, we'll send this all in an email with a copy of this video and the links just as a reminder.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Jeffrey Moore, you have a question. You raised your hand.
Hi, I just opened up the form and it answered the questions, but there's no place to put my name or Elisa's name.
You're right. That would be important. I can't tell you how many forms in my career in the last year and a half that I've created when I've forgotten to put a name spot. And then my kids turn in all their work and I'm like, oh man, whose work's whose? So we can fix that really quick. Give us just a second, and then the link will be updated if you open it again shortly. 2-time champ, you got another question? Or maybe not.
No, I'm good. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. Just wanted to make sure we answer all your questions.
Okay.
All right. Mr. Stowe?
Hey, there's my microphone. So I'm old. Hey, I think Hotchkiss said, but you said you guys are going to send out another email with the other links and things like that?
Yeah, we'll send out an email with payment totals, payment dates, the link for the whether you're interested or not, and the link for the online payment. We'll include all of that. Yes, Allison, all chaperones have to have a background check. Yep. And that can be filled out through the Lincoln website. On the district's website, there's a link for that on there. It's super fast. And Jonna in the HR department, she's very quick about getting those through. I think Mrs. Wilms, I think yours was done in like less than 24 hours. So it's quick and it gets done, and you're good for the rest of the year once you do it one time. Mr. Gamper, Go
I
ahead.
do.
Yes, I have a quick question. I'm assuming, but I never assume anything. Life has taught me, so I'm going to get verification. I assume the camp counselors and camp directors all have a degree of medical training for use of EpiPens or Band-Aids or CPR and are good swimmers for drowning issues. Can you elaborate on that for me, please?
Yes, and actually, all three of us know how to administer EpiPens as well. So the EpiPen situation, as district employees, we make sure that we are trained in that as well. We all have a basic medical first aid training. There are staff on site that are all CPR trained and are good swimmers, including myself, and Mr. Hotchkiss, and I think Mr. Pay is a good swimmer too. So we won't let anybody drown. So we walk around the entire time and jump from group to group as teachers, so that we're seeing each group and, you know, spending time and making those memories with them as well. So they hire some awesome counselors who have been there for years and years. And they really are great at what they do and how they encourage the kids, especially like the safety training that they go through for the zip line, and how they coordinate that, their safety checks that they go through. They're very, very diligent and on top of everything.
Well, and they don't spend a lot of time near the water if you're worried about that, except for when they're canoeing. And then I talk about how we get a lot of privileges. Like I actually know where the keys to the boat are. So usually I'm out driving in the boat when they're canoeing. So I'll be there to help with kids that are canoeing.
Becca? Mrs. Hicks?
Sorry, mute.
No, that's okay.
If you are not able to spend the night, are you able to come and hang out for the day and assist there, but then come home in the evening?
Yeah, we don't mind that, but you still have to fill out your slip and everything, and there is still cost for that as a chaperone, because they're still providing you meals and everything, and you're welcome to that, but we definitely still need parents to stay the night. We struggled I don't know, was that 2-3 years ago? We didn't have a lot of parents who were staying the night, and we are desperate. I know it doesn't sound like a walk in the park, and but we are always in need of parents to stay the night. So, but yes, coming to stay for the day is also welcome.
And it's only 2 nights.
It
In
is
the
only
past,
2
I took kids for 3 or 4 nights, and that was a much bigger commitment. So
Yeah.
think about it.
Mr. Stowe, go ahead.
All right, I didn't raise my hand, did I?
It's still up.
It's up.
Oh, see, I'm an
It's okay.
idiot.
I'm just trying to make sure I get everybody. Mr. Gamper, go ahead.
Yes, I have a question. What is I know there was the film of like archery, which Joseph is very interested. My son's very interested in. But what are some of the other curriculum? Are you going to be learning about wildlife or life survival skills or hunting, sportsmanship? Well, what is exactly the curriculum at this particular camp? Could you please elaborate on that?
They do fire and shelter building is one of them. They do like pond ecology study, which the kids really like. They go with nets down in the water and scoop a bunch of stuff that even I didn't never realize lived in ponds out of the pond and study that. They do the nature center itself has like tons of rescued animals. So I think this year we signed up for birds of prey. So they bring the kids sit down, they bring the birds of prey down for like live demonstration with the birds of prey. Any other questions?
So Dusty Schultz asked in the chat if the kids can bring cameras with them. And so cameras are okay, like traditional digital cameras. We just say no cell phones or tablets. It gets kids in some precarious positions when they're away from home and have their phones. So I know that it's a safety feature for many of us as parents that their kids have their cell phones. And it makes you feel safer, and I understand that. I know that when I don't have mine, I don't feel as safe. But just because of 5th grade, and our school policy is that kids are not supposed to have cell phones. It's in the child's handbook. And so we try to follow that. All of our chaperones will have phones. Myself, Mr. Hotchkiss, Mr. Pay, we will all have our cell phones. So we will be available there. We will all be taking pictures, and then we end up dumping the pictures into like a folder that we can share with everyone. So everyone can have those pictures that we take, or videos. We take videos when they're ziplining, which is pretty fun.
Any other questions, concerns? I did fix that form, by the way. I don't see Mr. Moore, but it's fixed. You can add your name now.
Thank you, Mr. Hotchkiss. Okay, there is a spot on that form too. If you think of something after this meeting ends and you have another question, feel free to put your question on that form. Reach out if you have any other questions at all. We'll be here. And then we'll remind the kids and send out an email with the video and all the links. I'm going to do that tomorrow morning. I have some nice enchiladas that are waiting for me downstairs, and I'm looking forward to them. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you later.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
What kind of enchiladas? Sounds good.
Ooh, chicken enchiladas.
Yummy.
That sounds good.
Cindy. Bye.